news and events COVID-19 on June 04 vertical line world news vertical line KCVC note. This is a collaborative video made between Travel for All Fanpage and Knowledge of Coronavirus channel. Please respectfully welcome everyone. The following is the remarkable news most on June 04 as follows. 1. American news. Nearly 43 million Americans have filed for unemployment benefits during the pandemic of COVID-19. Millions of Americans again filed for unemployment benefits last week as the coronavirus recession drags on. Another 1.9 million workers filed for initial unemployment aid last week, according to the U.S. Department of Labor. For 11 weeks in a row, jobless claims have been in the millions. Before the pandemic, the Labor Department had never recorded a single week of jobless claims over a million. U.S. Defense Secretary Mark Esper said on June 3 he did not support the use of the Anti-Riot Act to deploy existing forces to deal with civil unrest, an action President Trump threatened to take to stave off protests that are stirring America. Boxing superstar Floyd Mayweather offers to pay funeral expenses to George Floyd, 46-year-old African-American who died while arrested by police in Minneapolis, that sparked protests across the country. America in those days. The administration of President Donald Trump, on June 3, banned Chinese passenger planes from flying to the United States. The ban came into force on June 16 to pressure Beijing to allow U.S. aircraft to resume flights amid tensions between the world's two largest economies. The National Department of Veterinary Services, NVSL, of the U.S. Department of Agriculture on 2 June announced that a dog in New York State had COVID-19. It was the first dog in the U.S. to be positive for coronavirus new strain. U.S. President Donald Trump signed an executive order on June 2 to highlight religious freedom in U.S. foreign policies. The Hill reported that President Trump signed the decree after he and First Lady Melania Trump visited St. John Paul I Episcopal Church in Washington, D.C. on Tuesday afternoon. The U.S. Treasury Department may also consider imposing sanctions on individuals involved in religious persecution by enforcing the Magnitsky Global Human Rights Accountability Act, among other measures. This law allows the U.S. government to impose a ban on the issuance of visas, and blockade property of individuals who violate human rights and corrupt officials around the world. 2. COVID-19 updating the world. COVID-19, an acute respiratory infection caused by a new strain of coronavirus, was first detected in Wuhan City, Hubei Province, China in December 2019. Later, the disease spread to many provinces in China. To date, 215 countries/territories around the globe recorded cases, in which the United States is the country with the highest number of infected people. The world has 6,609,642 people with COVID-19 and 388,616 people died. Number of cases in the United States last updated on June 3, 2020. The United States has a total of 1,827,425 cases. The number of deaths is 106,202. Laboratory tests in the U.S. The total number of tests reported is 19,382,280, of which the number of positive tests reported is 2,240,563. The rate of positive tests is 12%. 3. Hong Kong news. On the evening of June 4, Hong Kong residents flocked to Victoria Park to hold the Tiananmen Memorial Ceremony, despite police earlier announcing a ban on the activity due to social distress, preventing the COVID-19 epidemic from the new strain of coronavirus. 4. England news. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson paved the way for what he called one of the biggest changes to our visa system in British history, in which he is willing to give the right to live and work in the UK for any of the nearly 3 million Hong Kong residents who are eligible to own a British Overseas Passport, BNO. Mr. Johnson's promises were published in an article published in the South China Morning Post, Hong Kong, and the Times, UK, on June 5. Netherlands news. Just days after the nationwide mink transport ban, the Dutch government is expected to eradicate all weasels on farms where some COVID-19 people are found. According to Reuters on June 3, the Dutch government said thousands of ferrets that were bred for fur on farms with COVID-19 cases of the country could be killed. 6. Chinese news. Wuhan Dr. Hu Weifeng turned black from coronavirus infection, who passed away in late April due to a brain hemorrhage. Chinese netizens are angry about this news. After 4 months of fighting the disease, Dr. Hu Weifeng of Wuhan Central Hospital, colleague of the late physician Li Wenliang, passed away June 2. His death caused outrage on social networks. China. According to the BBC, Dr. Hu Weifeng, 42 years old, a specialist in urology, appeared in the newspaper in March when his skin turned black due to COVID-19. This complication occurred because his liver lost function in the process. Treatment course. 7. News from Vietnam. At an online meeting of experts from the North, Central and South in the afternoon of June 4, Choray Hospital said that the good news is that the lungs of 91 British pilots had recovered 50%. The British Consulate General in Ho Chi Minh City visited patients. 8. Swedish news. Controversy over Sweden's COVID-19 prevention strategy rekindled when epidemiologist Anders Tegnell, in charge of designing the country's anti-epidemic policy, intended to acknowledge the flaws in the way many people died. Casualties. While the COVID-19 outbreak broke out in Europe, Sweden was a country that did not apply strict anti-epidemic blockades such as blockade and relied on voluntary social distance, banning the gathering of over 50 people. Trips of less than 2 hours to visit family are still allowed. However, because of this comfort, the situation of COVID-19 in Sweden in late May became tense. Its daily mortality rate is the highest in Europe, even 5 days at the highest level in the world. 9. Russian news. Russia will start distributing Aviflavir, the first COVID-19 drug approved by the country's Ministry of Health, to patients next week. This is considered a move to promote the country back to normal life. Aviflavir is the first potential new strain of coronavirus drug approved by the Russian Ministry of Health after clinical trials. Aviflavir, international name Favipiravir, was first developed by a Japanese company in the late 1990s. The company was later acquired by Fujifilm, often used to treat severe flu patients. Russian experts have redesigned to enhance the effectiveness of Aviflavir in the treatment of COVID-19. 10. Japanese news. Japan will fund $300 million for an international organization committed to providing vaccines to people around the world. The move comes as Gavi Vaccine Alliance is calling on the international community to fund vaccine development and other efforts to cope with a new strain of coronavirus. Earlier, the Japanese government pledged $100 million to sponsor the organization. However, Japan decided to contribute an additional $200 million. Under the plan, Prime Minister Abe Shinzo will announce the financial support in a video message broadcast at the coalition meeting on Thursday, June 4, 2020. The purpose of the Japanese government to support the development and use of the vaccine is probably to ensure that the 2020 Tokyo Olympic and Paralympic Games will take place next year after a 1-year delay. Our newsletter is now over. Thank you for always watching and supporting our videos. Knowledge of Coronavirus Channel and Travel for All fanpage respectfully, and see you in the next video.